So who are you and what do you do?
I'm Superman. I'm Bud Agnew with S&R Tire. Oh, and what do I do?
Yeah, what is your job here?
My job is really to coach the guys, do the best job they can for customers and their vehicles, and to make sure that they understand, everyone on our team understands we do more than just fix cars. What we do affects people's lives, their safety, their ability to get to work, their ability to pick up their kids or take their kids to ball games, to be out of town. Everything we do impacts somebody's life in some ways. So, you know, what we do, everything from keeping the shop clean for the customer, bathrooms clean for customer, lobbies clean, all the way to flat repairs, tire installations, oil changes, and major mechanical is all very important to the customer.
And did you always do that? What was your first job? Because you're not from here originally. Where are you from originally?
Originally from Indiana, southern Indiana, New Albany, Floyd County. My first job was working for a gentleman who was a professor at Indiana University Southeast, and he also was one of the owners in the clay tennis courts in southern Indiana, which was the only clay courts around. So we hosted a lot of tournaments. And I was 13 when I started over there. I'd walk across the street, and my job was to cleanliness, keep everything on the property clean. You know, they had big corporate, I guess you call it company picnics. And so it was my job to make sure the pool, the shelter house, the grounds, the ponds to fish in, and the courts were all ready to go, clean and ready to go.
How'd you get that job? Were you the tennis player at one time, or what exactly?
No, I was no John McEnroe. Now I could break a racket or two for sure.
Sure.
No, like I said, I lived across the street and I loved fish the ponds, and I just got to meet the owner one day over there and got to talking with him, and he needed someone to help do some, you know, anything from scrape out grass between the stones and the pavers, and to watering and clearing the lines over on the clay courts. So I just talked with him, and next thing you know, I was working for him.
And did you have a job before then, like working with the parents around the house or anything like that?
Just mowing the yard.
Okay.
Mowing the yard, keeping my own room clean, which was a challenge.
Okay.
Yeah.
You were a slobby kid, is what you're saying.
I wasn't that slobby, no.
So were you into cars back then?
Funny story about cars and motorcycles. One of my very best friends in the world still today, we took together a perfectly good running motorcycle, cleaned it up to help it run even better, and by the time we finished, amazingly enough, like most things, they include extra parts. We had pieces left over, we didn't know where they went, couldn't figure out where they went, and that motorcycle went off to a shop and never came back. So that started the interest in taking things apart.
What age were you when you did that?
Let's see, again, probably that 13, 14.
And what job did you have after the clay courts?
I got on with a company called Ool Sod, and Jeff Ool was the owner and run the thing, and it was my job to cut, and the machine would roll, we'd stack the sod, and then we'd go out and prep the ground and then install the sod, and all the way through watering. We did some seeding, but it was mostly sodding.
So a lot of landscape type gigs?
It was mostly just take something bare and ugly and make it pretty and green. Okay. And we did that. I did that for a number of years and was crew chief for him, and brought a lot of my friends in to do some of the work.
Now, did you go to college?
I did.
Where'd you go?
I went to Indiana University, Bloomington, Indiana. Okay. And was there for several years, and then
any jobs while you're there?
Yeah, I was always working. Worked at the snack bar. Our dorm was one of the few on campus that had a full 3-fryer, one large chop grill, I call it, and an ice cream machine. So and we made cookies as well, sugar cookies. So we had a lot of the campus came there in the evenings because we were open later than obviously the food courts.
Sure. So is that where you first kind of got your foray into like customer service, dealing with the customers directly, or was there something before that?
No, that would probably be the first one we ever had to deal with customers who maybe their expectations weren't met, or their expectations were something we had trouble maintaining with the people we had at the time.
Okay.
And then trying to make them happy or get them to a place where, you know, they were happy enough they wanted to come back and do with us. Didn't happen very often, but sometimes some of the warm food got cold on a big order, or maybe mysteriously cookies were broken and got distributed. I don't know.
So is that where you first fell in love with food?
No, I think that was near birth. Yeah. I've yet to meet a food I didn't like.
What is your favorite?
My favorite food?
Yeah.
Oh man, desserts and anything fried. I mean, there you go.
You are a health advocate for the world.
Although I would say a good medium steak ribeye would probably be my favorite.
You are so Midwestern.
Slap me a big old baked potato on there with some butter and we're ready to go. Yeah.
So that was your job through college, or did you have other ones?
That was my main job through college.
And then what'd you do after college?
After college, I went to work for an insurance company in the summers between as well. And then when I got out of college, I moved back home. Moved in with my best friend Jason in an apartment. And did I mention I met the love of my wife while at Bloomington?
No.
She came up to visit on a weekend. I was lucky enough to be in the right place at the right time.
Did she love you back?
Well, it took a while. Yeah, it did take a while. A lot of courting, but somehow I wooed her over, and the 3 kids later, the rest is history. Yeah.
Is courting a Midwestern word for stalking?
There might have been a little of that involved too. But listen, she stalked back. I mean, it was okay.
All right, it was reciprocal.
Yeah.
And then, so what'd you do after insurance? Which that's exciting.
No, that wasn't very exciting. But then I moved in, and I was working for a place called Dawn Food Products.
Okay.
Which sat behind Indiana University Southeast campus, and I got on there working the warehouse.
Okay.
Picking orders, loading the trucks on the dock. We'd work Sunday through Thursday, picking, and then eventually I got promoted. They recognized I had some computer skills and some people skills, and I got promoted to inside billing, and then I was the one prepping the distribution of the orders, the pick orders.
So you kind of, like, just the jobs you've told me so far, that's kind of helped you set up to where you are now. Was there anything between that job and opening Best One Tires? I guess S&R Tire, I met you in 2003. Were you here before then?
Nope. No, this is what brought me to Bowling Green. And so we went from Dawn Food Products, had some promise of management that didn't come through. And at the time I was helping coach baseball with a man called Fred Ralston.
Okay.
And Fred Ralston is the R of S&R.
Okay.
And one summer he called me back the second season and said, "Hey, you ready to coach some kids again?" I said, "Man, I'm ready. Love to." I said, "Hey, and by the way, you got any openings at your place?" And kind of took him off to the side a little bit. He said, "Well, why don't you come talk to me in the morning? We'll see about what's going on." And again, as they say, the rest is history. I went out into the service department, changing the tires, and then went on road calls and did roadside deliveries and repairs, and then made my way. I graduated from Indiana University Southeast and with a computer degree in programming, and went on to setting
And that's kind of early computer. I'm not dating you, but your gray is helping you. But
thank you. That was very early 90s. I got that degree.
Yeah, so was that like 92, 93?
It was probably 93.
So you were even kind of pre-internet.
Yeah.
Like before AOL and all that started hitting is what I mean.
It was right. I mean, AOL was in, but it was definitely big at the time.
Sure.
And people don't even remember what that is now.
Yeah. There's some people with the AOL emails that always weird me out.
So I had gotten married before finishing school.
Okay.
And we, I guess to go on to say, with my computer background, there was no computer connectivity at S&R Tire in Jeffersonville, and we went into flying around and interviewing different companies, and finally landed with one and brought in their hardware and software, and I was responsible for connecting everything up and training the entire staff on how to use it.
So you get the job, You're with the S&R folks.
Yeah.
And so what happens next?
Well, I meet a guy named Wes McAdams, and he and I started a friendship and a bond, and we worked service department, alternated weekends, doing road calls for them. And it seemed like we were the ones that always ended up in the scrap trailer. As a matter of fact, this is going on right here. This is the external going on. We're getting ready to haul off a bunch of scrap material.
So that's what you two were always doing?
Well, not exactly. We were up inside a trailer that was about 115 degrees and no airflow, and we would stack tires and push them in as tightly as we could. At that time, the trailer scrap was about a third of the dollar amount, and the more you could fit on, the more affordable it was to get rid of them. So we spent a lot of time up in there where no one else wanted to be, and we decided then in talking that one day we'd want to take our friendship to a business partnership and own a place of our own.
Okay, and then so how did that come about?
Well, let's see. Wes started managing the Akron, Kentucky location, and then opened up a Horse Cave location.
Okay.
And then his travels had been coming through Bowling Green. I had been made operations manager of S&R Tire, which was our largest competitor that we bought out during the transition. And from there, located this location here in Bowling Green. And Wes said, why don't we come take a look at it? And it looks like it's struggling and it needs some help. And
what was it called then?
It was S&R Tire Wholesale.
Okay.
Yeah. So we came down to Bowling Green and brought our families and spent a couple weekends and tooling around town to see what was available for the kids.
Okay.
Both the families really liked what we saw for youth and decided that this was a good place to move to. So we'll took a look at the financials, took a look at the people here, and said, you know what, together we can clean this place up and grow it.
We have a lot of people who watch these that, they may be thinking about starting a business, and you guys basically take an existing business and almost starting from scratch because you're going to build it up with your own branding, right? You weren't calling it S&R Tire anymore.
Correct.
What was something you maybe didn't know coming into it, or something that you wish you knew more about before taking over a business? Because someone's going to be out there and they're going to think, hey, I can start a business, but what would you suggest that they learn more about that probably would help them, that with some of the pitfalls you had starting a business?
Well, it's a great question, and I thinking about it, I would say prepping the family more, because you're really going to spend a lot of time. It's almost like a brand new baby when you take over a business, and it's going to cry and whine and kick and scream, and it's going to need a lot of attention, especially in the early years. And if there were, I suggest some sort of management training.
Okay.
Get close with some mentors and just learn what makes them successful, and how they treat their people and how they have conversations with their people.
Sure.
That's the biggest thing, is what your people are capable of doing and how they represent you
Sure.
as your business.
Is employees, that's kind of a big deal, especially with an operation where you've got, I don't know, how many employees do we have walking around out here?
We have 38, nearing 40 employees.
And so you guys employ quite a few people, and that's a delicate balance with employees. So
it is. I mean, there's a lot of hidden expenses with employees. There's obviously the hard expenses that we know about with payroll and uniforms and benefits. There's a lot of hidden stuff there that you just don't know till you know. You find out. And one of them is continual training. For the ones staying, there's always something new to learn, something new to do. For those that are turning over, there's always the teaching of everything that you just assume people ought to know coming into the industry.
Sure. And
what we're finding out today is that the further we get away from the day where Dad and Grandpa used to work on their vehicles in the driveway, less and less people have the passion to work on vehicles. So when you find them, they're gold. They really are. And there's some really good ones here in Bowling Green.
Speaking on that, tech's changed on cars from when you even took over the place in 2003 to now. Has it made it harder? Has it made it easier? What What's the state of doing a job like this with, you know, everything that's changing with vehicles?
It's harder. Take just a simple oil change and tire rotation. It's not simple anymore. There's so many different oils that the manufacturers are using with their own specifications that you have to keep up with, along with the equipment to do the job. And then, you know, you've got the tire rotations, which you used to be able to do for free and quick. They used to take no time at all. Well, now you've got TPMS, tire pressure monitoring systems. They all add extra dollars to every service, extra time to every service, and you have to train the guys to do it because it is not an easy thing to learn to do.
And you do have to educate customers probably a little bit more too, because like me, the TPMS light seems to come on even when there's nothing wrong with it.
Correct. It just takes air temperature to change the pressure inside the tire. And then once the pressure changes inside, if the customer's not keeping up with that on a regular basis, the light will come on for no flat reason.
Now you've gotten big into our community on one specific thing I know about that maybe you're not as big in right now. Maybe you are, and I just haven't talked to you about it lately. But you were big on the inline hockey stuff.
Yeah, yes. Still a passion of mine. The kids in that program are so, kids and parents are a little bit different in the fact that it's not a mainstream sport. So there's no funding, there's not a lot of, I mean, it's all in-house. And those kids, I liken it to when I play baseball. You know, if you wanted to play second base and you want to start and play the game, you better practice hard, play hard, and take that position. And so even though your best friend may be playing, if he plays your position, you're out every day to outperform him so that you can play the game. And in hockey, the nice thing is everybody there changed teams twice a year. And so when they did that, they always had a different competitor, and that competitor might have been on their team a few months earlier. And so the neat thing there is that they always they realized they were only going to get better if their competition got better. So those kids, after a game or between practices or between sets, the ones that wanted to know how to do something were asking those who were doing it, hey, can you show me how? And those kids did not hesitate in showing them how to get better at something they love to do.
And you were one of the earliest people I knew that was really into the Predators. So how big was this season?
This season was huge. I mean, look what it did for Nashville and all the surrounding counties, and even here in southern Kentucky. I mean, it was just phenomenal the way they've been able to play. And I think a lot of it has to do with obviously their leadership and their bond as people, because you know their caps, their salary is not the greatest in the league. And yet they have been competitive. And Bridgestone Arena is one of the greatest arenas to host any sporting event. So, and the fan base, if you've ever been to a game, which I know you have, the fan base is rowdy the entire game. It's different playing at home for sure.
And do you feel, I'm someone who didn't grow up here either, and you know, I have a kid and raised here. How has the community kind of accepted y'all and just coming in from outside? You didn't go to Western, you didn't go to any local of the high schools, but
right.
your kids went to what, Greenwood? And so how's that been? You know, we're what?
First of all, I'm really impressed with the way you say y'all. That was all right. Yeah, you've caught on well. So, again, community's been great. The spirituality in Bowling Green with the number of churches and the way people are connected through their church is something I was not used to coming from Southern Indiana.
A bunch of heathens.
I don't know about heathens, just not nearly as seem to be spiritually grounded as guiding. And so, you know, again, I learned about the Bible Belt pretty quick when I moved in, and wow, what a difference of an impact it's made in my family's life, mine personally and the family.
So what's the future of S&R Tire right now?
Well, we've purchased a building over on Tobacco Road. It's 78,000 square feet.
Where's that at? Where on Tobacco Road?
I mean, it's as soon
Explain
as
to
you
people
turn
where
on,
it is.
man. If you coming off the bypass, hanging right, it's less than a mile on your left-hand side, cross over the railroad tracks, and we're the first building on the corner of Tobacco Road and High Railway.
Okay, and is that going to be where the average Joe is coming to bring their car, or?
Yep, right over here. It's where we're going to take our commercial department. Right now, almost all the commercial work we do is outside of our building, along the interstate, over at a customer's lot itself, and we utilize these 2 end bays here for them. But our commercial business has really taken off and grown, and we have about 3-4 mechanics on staff for commercial, and that's where the real meat and potatoes of the commercial industry is going to go.
How's that going to be helpful for just the average consumer who's coming in to get their oil change that has just a day-to-day car?
Well, if you could imagine, this lane here stays pretty well jam-packed throughout the day, depending on time of day, for commercial business. So you take, as I said before, out of the near 40 employees we have, 25 of those are commercial. So between those vehicles, our sales vehicles, our service vehicles, and our customer tractor trailers, you take that pressure off of this lot, and now there's plenty of parking. It's very inviting for people to come in. Looks like we'll be able to service them right away. We're going to gain 2 bays right away to do service work out of for retail customers. And our plan in the future is to convert some of this back space or the very back building into either continued repair services or add-on services such as car audio, window tint, and detailing.
And as you are getting older and your children are moving away,
I'm sorry, what? Speak up a little louder.
Exactly. As you get empty nest syndrome and everything
Yes.
else, what are you getting active in? Since you don't have the kids to do the hockey, what are you doing?
Well, it's kind of fun you mentioned that. A couple things come to mind. One is I'm hoping for grandchildren soon, which would be fun. The next is I've always said once my daughter is finished with her high school volleyball career, if she does not pursue a college career in it, I'm going back to do hockey. I'm going to go back as a coach.
Do they want you?
I don't know, but I'm coming anyway. So I just really like coaching the sport and the kids and the families. So I'd really like to see that continue to grow and take off here in Bowling Green.
All right, the last thing, we always let you ask a question. We don't know if anyone will answer, but hopefully someone will. What do you want to know from the people in Bowling Green, Warren County? It could be about your business, it could be about your life, it can be about food, it can be about, where's the best clay court for tennis, whatever you want.
Well, they don't have those there anymore. Those have been replaced, unfortunately. Like everything, growth happens, and some things go away, and some things remain the same. So, as far as the question, we put it out there on Facebook not that long ago, and I'd really like to know what's the most important during an oil service. Is it time? Is it the brand of oil? Is it the inspection that you get with it? Is that important? Because all that affects the length of time of the visit and how much it costs. And I just want to know, do we need to make that very optional, have different basic to premium level of service offered, or do our customers want us to continue to provide the top service for top dollar?
All right, thank you, bud.